Alright, I'm reviewing Visual Studio Code and I'll be touching on some new features. So on the sidebar here, right, this is the Explorer menu, and it's opened and closed by this Explorer. If you mouse over something long enough, there will be a tooltip that say what it is and the keyboard symbol. So get to know the keyboard symbol because there will be some commands that you use often, so you want to remember the keyboard. Any question about the keyboard symbols? Sine? Do you try that? Keep your mouse over the icon, and are you able to see anything? Can I borrow this from you? Mouse over this and leave it there. Okay? So on your Windows machine, it will say Control-Shift-E. Do you have that? Yes? Just give me a thumbs up if you're comfortable there. Okay, so to revisit on this Explorer, sometimes we call it sidebar, Explorer menu. Okay, down here is your folder. So I have a folder called Bootcamp Ruby folder. Inside this folder, I can start creating any other files and folder. This is a file, and this is a folder. Okay. Now here's the small difference that I want you to pay attention, right? If you use new file up here, right, you can use command, and this is often you might want to do this, and you start typing some notes, right? Notes to self, VSCode is cool, something like that, right? What do you notice? I have a file that does not have any name, right? It's a file that has not been saved. So VS Code kind of remembers that, and if the computer crashes, I think it still can recover after the computer crashes. But normally that's one way to do it, and you see this dot again, right? It means the file has not been saved. And if you do save here, right? Normally you use save, so if I save it, then the computer will ask me for the file name. So this is the different order, right? You create a new empty file without a name, unnamed file, and then you save it as something. So check it out. If I name this as notes to self, okay? Let's say, normally a file, you put some extension into it, so txt. So if I do this, Ian, can you take a look here? Note to self, what do you think will happen after click save? Yeah, I have a new file, right? Where will it go? It go into this folder, and this folder is on the left hand side. So keep your eyes in here, right? See if you're gonna see it. Save, and the file is here, right? So I am organizing my project right now into different files and folder. I realized that today we need to create a new folder, 1, 2 here. So I click on the week 1 folder, I create, now this is the different order. I create the name first. So I create a new folder, I type it's day 3, right? And then I realize that I want this note to self inside day 3, so I drag this day 3 inside, notes to self inside day 3. So what I just explained is creating a new file here. You can double click here, you see, or use the new file up there. But what I normally do instead is that I click on the folder I want, and then I create a file. So I'll start with, for example, recap dot, maybe I just call it lecture, right? Lecture A dot RB. You see the symbol changing to a Ruby symbol? It's smart enough to know the file type. And I press enter, and now I have an empty file that I can start adding the content to. So this is more often what you're going to do. Is that the flow is that, I'm going to create a file with this name, and I'm going to start working on it. So for example, create, for example, when you start doing the lab today, right? I go here and type lab 3. No, this is week 1, day 3, Okay, maybe part A. Yeah. So I say here milestone A dot RB, and then here I'm going to start implementing milestone A code. Right? And you see that the file name is well defined. The file's open here. It's not saved, so you can turn on autosave, right? Or you can just type this is save, Command S or Control S on your computer. Okay? And then you can start working on it. Now here's one more thing to pay attention to. The current folder you are on. I am on the folder that is the same, and Bootcamp Ruby here is the same as Bootcamp Ruby folder up there on the left hand side. So I have to be sure I go into the right place where I can find my file. So I'm going to week 1, change directory week 1. You see 1, 2, 3 here. I'm going to day 3, and now I can see my files on the left hand side. So as we have learned, if we type Ruby and the file name, okay, Ruby LAB, I know that there's only one lab file in here. So I'm just gonna press the tab character to expand it. It helps me find the file easily instead of having to type, LAB1 minus 3A dot. So I'm able to do that. And I run the file. It has the exact code that I have up there. Give me a thumbs up if this seems okay, and feel free to just ask if there's. Can you give it a try on your computer? Create a new file on the left hand side. And for those who are here, we should know that there's history built into the terminal. So most of the time you just press up and press enter without having to type the whole thing again. So if I see you type in Ruby space and then where's the A key, where's the D key, that's multiple story. Right? And we normally only use one argument here until later when I'll show you what the extra arguments to do. Any questions so far on the editor? Now, what this may happen. You in lab 1-3A, but you're like, I want to take a look at lab 1-2. How do I do that, Louis? How do I take a look at lab 1-2A when I'm in lab 1-3A? Yeah, if you like the visual look, then you click on the left hand side sidebar to open the file. Right? If you're familiar and you don't even like to use this thing on the left, let's say if you hide your sidebar, then your go-to command will be Control P on Windows, Command P on a Mac, and then you start typing lab 1-2. So you see that I have these files here. So on day 2, I have something called lab 2, and I realized that hey, the way I name my files is not very consistent. So I'm going to be more disciplined. And I fix this, right? Okay. So the TAs can help you with that afterwards. Yeah. No, that's a good question. Unfortunately, I cannot show you that. It's just installing some extra tools. Okay. So what I want to do next is that I have to change this file name. Who knows how to change a file name? Rename, so let's try. This is how I go back to the other file. Oh, this is milestone, this is the previous file from day 2. You see, it shows the file name, so it doesn't really show me where the file is. So click on here again, or open the sidebar, and you see it, and then now you can see, it's in the day 2 folder, week 1 folder. All right, what's the fastest way to rename? Can someone tell me the shortcut? Yes, click here, type enter. I don't know if it works on Windows like that. Click on the file, press enter. Excellent. So now you can change it. So what should I change it to be consistent? Is week 1 dash. For example, if I combine two ABC, maybe I can do that, but maybe it's just that. If I do milestone A, milestone B, milestone 3 separately, which is probably the case, then I do 2A. So notice now, and whenever I go and search for other files, you see that my files look more organized now, right? So what shortcut did we learn? This is Command P, Control P, and you type any file name. Even little things like how do you name your files, it's important in this class. Okay? Now, if you want things to be side by side, instead of pressing enter, what can you press? I go to lab 3A. Okay, let's say I go back to lab 1, I want to see it. I press shift enter, right? Uh-oh, command enter, is it? Alright, so I press enter and I have this file open. But that's not, I want to open another file side by side. So go back here and let's say I go to the third one. Uh-oh. How do I open the third one and... Command enter. Is it command enter on your screen? So open the file dialog. I think it's control enter on your computer. It opened the file now on the second panel or the second window. Play with that so you can compare and contrast. For example, the way I use some, I create some existing code like a to-do list that I could reuse. I can look at the old file and then type the content of the new file. If you try Command P, Control P, and type a file here that you want to open. This is what you expect. Okay, so now I'm asking you, can you open the Monday.rb file without using your mouse? Without using the mouse. Alright, if you open Tuesday.rb without using the mouse. Yeah. Fantastic. If you open Monday, you in Monday, right?
This is
Wednesday.
You're going to open multiple files at once.
Right? Type Wednesday.
I'm sure you know. Let me do one thing.
Type Wednesday.
I think Google this. This is going to go.
No, release this. Okay. Okay. Now press Control Enter. So now you can see it on the screen. Okay.
Okay, so
Now you may notice that I have this thing on.
Control
Challenge yourself every day that you can learn something new with the tool. And some of you already know it. Like, look. This part, just 2 minutes. No, 20 seconds. You see, this thing is really long here, right? One thing to read all of this, you may want to do. Oh, I zoom out so I can see it. But sometimes you're like, no, I want to see it in big font. I want to keep both. So one thing is you want to hide the terminal, and there is a shortcut you can do that, right? I will leave it to you for that. But I'm switching. Look at this. So go back to command palette, and then you find this is called the editor group. But if you type that, you see this toggle editor group. And if I type that, my code now switched to horizontal layout. So then this is convenient for my text file. The first file is going long, and then the second file now you can start typing your code. For example, you see all these long lines. Down here you can start typing something based on what you see in the first file. This is very useful for cases when the files are long, right? Now, when you're done with that, of course, try again. You can toggle editor group. So toggle vertical or horizontal layout. See this really long sentence. View, toggle editor group, vertical, horizontal layout. You can type any words. You can type view toggle. You can type toggle editor. You can type vertical, horizontal. and they all come up. And you can just press enter when you see exactly the command you like. So try to play with that because it was just switch. And because I've done it a few times, I realized that, hey, I can just use the short key. Hello. I can use the short key here. So this is Option Command 1. By now, I'm so used to it that my flow can be pretty fluid. When my code is not clear on the side, I will switch to horizontal. Right? When I just want to compare two files that look very similar, I switch to vertical. Okay?
What is the first symbol for that command?
It's an Option key. Now here's another thing that I feel bothered by is like, what is this thing in the middle?
Minimap.
It's called a minimap. It maps where your code is, right? So you have a long file, and then you can just select where things are. So you can you see this gray area, you can go up and down, but some people is like, it's the damn scroll bar, so why do I need that, right? Then I'm like, maybe I can try to hide it. Who knows how to hide it? I don't know either, but let's try. Command palette, minimap. I was expecting that I can see it. Maybe toggle. Oh no. Command. Oh, okay. View command palette, right? And then minimap. Nope. What can I do? Let's try again. Toggle maybe. Is there a minimap here? Okay. This is one of the rare cases that I cannot just hey, there should be something here that just do what I want. So that's a bad example. Let's try something else. I want a terminal, right? And then you type terminal. And then you actually discover a few things where often you want to open a terminal in this text editor. And then you can just do that. So this is a new terminal, right? Outside the text editor. And then I go back here and say terminal again. We're learning with the new terminology. And then there's something called integrated terminal. That's what I like most of you to use, where you don't have to go somewhere else. Everything is on your screen. So if you look at integrated terminal, and it pops out at the bottom. Play around with that terminal. Now, how can you hide this terminal without clicking this? Yeah? Genius. How do you go to the first file on the left here? On the upper left hand side. This is called an editor, right? And then inside you have a bunch of files. This is an editor group, so you just do the command palette. And this is focusing on the first editor, focusing on the second editor, and the key for that is just command 1, command 2. I'm just explaining sort of how we just challenge ourselves to just explore into the tool. You don't have to remember exactly what keys they are, right? We're just learning how to figure out if we forget. So command palette, right? I want to maybe hide terminal, and you're like, okay, so that's not good. And then I say, I'm going to type terminal, and then I see if I can hide it without knowing the command J thing. So I can the view toggle terminal, integrated terminal. Let me do that. You see this? Toggle integrated terminal. It can do that. So that's just an exercise to practice our keys. Okay. Sinead, are you able to get the command palette? Excellent. So that's what you just did there, right? Control Shift E. This is your friend. Control Shift E. Right? So type something like toggle terminal. Yes, press enter. Right? Press enter. You see the terminal pop up. Right? run code. This is the editor up here, but you can edit, type the code. Now, because it looks really big right here, I'd like you to resize this down. One thing that is not really possible with the keyboard only challenge is how you resize, right? Does anyone know how to resize this without a keyboard? Well, that's a bit crazy, isn't it? Well, I don't use it, by the way, but you can try this. Maximize editor and hide sidebar, for example. And then whenever you focus on one, it just jumps like that. I really think it's useless. But that's an example that you don't have to resize. A lot of times you just have to go here, and it's like very carefully. It takes art to practice that, and then you basically resize it like that. Let's look at the terminal. You can resize it like that. This happens all the time. The up-down resizing, because our screen vertically doesn't have that much space. So sometimes you really want to see more of the terminal output. Sometimes you drag it down, and then you want to see more of the text. And down here, you just want enough to run the file, right? Yes, Lloyd?
They open up the thing where you're typing in like names of the
Command?
Command P?
No, Command P, that's the name of the file. It's like
Yeah.
when you open the name of the
Command Shift P.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for asking that. So it's under View, Command Palette. This is the Bible, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these things have multiple shortcuts. It's because people have different memory, muscle, in a way, muscle memory. For example, what we call this the Explorer, right? All of these guys open something on the left, and I call that the sidebar. And then, I don't know if there's a word sidebar here. Sidebar. And you see here, right? Sidebar. So I use Command P a lot. Instead of trying to remember, oh, this is Command Shift E, this is Command Shift F, this is Command Shift G. No, that's way too much for me, right? Of course, I do use these things, but initially that's too much. All you have to do is, I want to see my files, Command B. And then if accidentally, right, next time you were here, and then when you Command B, you still at this search thing, just click and go back to the search, the file, because most of the time, you're looking at this Explorer view, right?
One more question.
Yes, no, absolutely. No, ask you like, how do I do any ridiculous thing to say it? Yes?
How did you toggle between horizontal and vertical again? I know something with option, but I don't think
No, that's fantastic. So,
Option Command 1.
no, so when you do Command J, that's show or hide. So just like Command B, again, Windows is Control, yeah? Just like Command B. But when I'm in the terminal, okay, I'm in the terminal, I want to go to the editor. Most of the time, you type Command 1. That's the editor group 1, right? And then the second time, you just, the second part is Command 2. And a lot of time, the second screen here is only when you really need it. You don't want an editor where you just, basically renting this space, half of the screen to someone else, and all you do is just looking over what's there, but you're not changing anything, you're not using it. So, Command W is your friend. Like you have a rich neighbor and they have all these fancy TVs and cars. Yes, it's nice to look at once in a while, but you don't want it to be, everything you look at when you look out. Huh?
Can you toggle back down to the terminal?
Yes, so that will be Control backtick.
Control back. Okay.
Do you see that one? Control backtick is go to terminal. I actually remapped the keyboard to Command T, but yeah. So you see, I go down here now,
Yeah.
and then so I go back up. So definitely, you want that ability to switch between the terminal and the editor. Yeah.
No, earlier I saw you toggle. See how the panes are left to right. Now, how do you toggle?
Yeah. Look, so you're like, oh, I want to change from horizontal. Can you believe that? I type HO and already it has what I want to do. That's just pretty insane. I want to say horizontal, vertical, swap. So type HO, enter, and then just swap like that.
Okay.
That's pretty ridiculous, right? So I have command 1, command 2 here, and then I'm like, I want the third file open. Then command 3, no problem. I have 1, 2, 3, right? And I want maybe, the fourth one, obviously, like, the editor will think you're crazy. Or like toggle vertical again, then you can see this. Sometimes I may take the whole screenshot of the editor for you to have a bird's eye view of my project structure. Okay? And that's when I do that, and then I zoom it out enough just for you to see. And then I take a screenshot, and you can see like, this is what I need for the project. The first file is like this, second file is like that. It can be pretty useful to sort of give you an overview. Now challenge me with another question. There is one thing that I really want you to ask, but because I was so afraid that you would ask and I would not know, which is really rare, right? But I prepare myself, and I can't wait for you to ask that question. A very reasonable request. Unfortunately, no one's asking that yet. So, it's like I'm going for a job interview, and I have this one question that I want you to ask. Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me explain that. Okay. Oh, look at that! She's already asking a super hard question. Can I open 2 terminals? Then I have 2 editors, 3 editors here. Can I open 2 terminals? What do you guys think? That's one of the hard. I think we should have some candies here, because obviously I think that's the best question so far. And I have a terminal here. If you comment T and then you see this thing here, new terminal, and you can start memorizing this keyboard if you want, but to be honest, I never need 2 terminals. So you might want to, and then our brain is like, can you stop abusing me? Coming to class at 9 a.m. and now I have 3 editors open and 2 terminals open. Are you nuts?
I sometimes do that with RD.
Yeah, no, that's normal. That's completely okay. The problem is when you use a separate terminal app, it's specialized for terminal use. It means your terminal now is your editor, and then the first terminal, second terminal. What you're using right now, VSCode, is an editor app. So it's specialized at having multiple tabs. Right? Many tabs here, multiple editor groups, like first, second, third. Now if you're asking it to do the terminal thing, look how awkward it is to switch between terminal. By the way, there's an extension that converts these into a tab to look like just above. But yeah, so I feel like I can just forget about my terminal when I'm done, so I can just close it. To close a terminal, you can also just use some English way. And then you're like, type exit, and it's out. A very useful key in the terminal is clearing it. Control L. All right, almost. You almost got me, but I still prepared myself for that question. Anything else? How do I quit the damn program?
Command Q.
Command Q is your Bible. And lose all your work and start over again. Well, yeah, so like Control W in your case, okay? That's how you close each file, right? Alright? See how you close all the file and open the file. You can practice, open a few files, and then close them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm confused about what command and number does, because when I want to switch between tabs, I can do control 1 or 2.
Correct.
But command, if I do command 2, it opens it
Yeah.
in the second file, but command 1 doesn't do anything.
Command 1 focus on the first thing on the left.
Alright.
Command 2 go here. Command 1 go here. 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3.
So they're different panes. That's
Yeah,
what
these-
a pane
these-
is different than a tab.
These are like your panes. They laid out right now, vertically split.
Okay. Yeah.
This really surprised me when I first used Visual Studio Code.
And then when I don't have one, it opens a new one. So that's
Correct.
why it didn't do anything when I pressed command 1.
Yeah,
So
when
I
you're
had
in one, command 1 just stay there.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're in the first pane right now, you can press Control 1 to go to this
On
tab.
your browser.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you
Thanks.
use Chrome, your tab command 1 will go here, command 2 will go here, command 3 will go to the third tab, when you go to Safari, you try that and it's like, whoops, it's really bad. Like it's just like open your favorites and all these random things. So unfortunately, VSCode is another one that decided not to use command 1 for the first tab, command 2 for the first tab. It's second tab. It's using command 1 and 2 to switch between editor groups. Right?
But you can use control for that.
Exactly. So let's try. Control 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just a matter of just a small change of habit. I prefer to change myself a little bit, to stick with the Visual Studio Code way. And then from then on, if I open Visual Studio Code on your computer, I can use it because I slowly train myself to use it the Visual Studio Code way. Right? I don't go and customize every single shortcut. There's a balance. I customize the shortcut to go to the terminal, but it's just me because I don't like going to the control backtick thing to open a new terminal. By the way, that's just open a terminal, but if this bar at the bottom, Command J is your best friend. Just like Command B, it just open the thing at the bottom. You see different tabs here? You may be at this output of problems that debug and solving. Initially, most of you are using the terminal thing here, but you will also look at the output later when you use the run code extension. So we'll get there. Yes, you open the file and close the file. Show me how you open the file. Awesome. And then, yeah. So how did you move this to the right? Do you prefer to do that? Oh, okay. Something happened that your editor is moved to the right, something on the left. Just playing around here. He thinks it's a text editor, so you open the file, close the file, open more than one file, you start doing things. You can go to the terminal and run your file. Make sure you can do that. Okay, guys. Please ask the question that I prepared for. Alright. I'm sure you will have that question. I'm just going to take a look at, I'm going to share the sample file, my beautiful code that you guys can, this is like the lab exercise, for example. Remember the very first lab when we started feeling like, holy shit, this is pretty cool. When you can do all this calculator thing. Remember how many seconds are there in a year? And this is the lab exercise that, and then you learn how to use variables to keep track of certain numbers, and then your code will start reading like English. So initially it looks really scary, but you see how if you write your code cleanly, it looks pretty good. And your variable names don't have to be too long. So I decided, for example, hours in a day, let's call that 8 hours. So how many hours are there in the year? So I call year hours is 8 hours multiplied by 365. 365 or 25. But I go on, and then I'm going to try to run this code to show you guys that it works. Alright? And I run it, boom. Here's the problem. There's so much code. You see that? So I can just go up here, and sometimes I have this desire. I wish I could do something about this. Yes?
How do we
Indent? Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll get there right away. When I do the next lab. Remind me again if I don't cover that. So here, when you look at something like this, do you have any other desires? Maybe like you lay out your screen differently? No? I already have colors. Well, all of this, good point. All of these are the thing at the bottom here. They are just screen output. They're all like your put statements. So technically, the computer will not be smart enough to know unless you just say, hey, go here and color this to be blue. Alright? Then it will work. You need to install the colorize library. Okay, so let's try something on our third day. I'm going to try to review and show you guys what I mean by that secret interview question, okay? So I'll just say review 1-3, let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to run the code. So, we learned how to use a put statement. All right, I make it big enough, I resize it down here, and I prove to you that I can run this file, right? Uh-oh, not down here, let me just finish this. Finish, all right, let's try again. I run the code. This is hello down here, all good. So I review how to print the screen. I review that we learn, numbers. So now I can review that I can do arithmetic on the screen. And then I show us, hey, it looks like that, it works, right? And then I review that we can use a to-do list as a representation. Here's an array. So, eat cereal for breakfast, go to work, sit down in the back, maybe go to class. So I have a to-do list here, and I want to print that, right? My to-do list is to do. You see how as I'm demoing the code and I execute it, you start to see that, okay, it's very nice to have instant feedback. What I wanted to do was to move this terminal to the right. So I can keep going, and I can keep going where, to do, here is new, let's say is now an array of tasks, where this is my eat cereal, and my task is done is true, and name is go to class, done is true, maybe name is be on time, and today I successfully made it false. And then goal is get lunch early, get lunch, and obviously we are not done yet. Okay, do you see that as I'm giving you this example, my screen doesn't show you the, for example, I go down here one more, and then I lost the earlier to do. I wish I can keep both of them. This is easier to see. So I value the vertical space. I wish I can just change it to vertical. That's what I mean. And actually, it's a feature that's being requested every day, and they still working on it. So it's under. You cannot do that yet. It's harder than it seems. So within 6 months, the VSCode team will finish implementing that, and then you can move this terminal to the right hand side. Then it will look exactly like your repo.it website. It will just be very similar. Yeah. So, for example, I review now. Okay, next, see how convenient it is as Visual Studio Code is the only tool I need to use to teach. For example, what's your name? All right. And then name is gets.chomp. And then I say, hello, name, right? Welcome back, something like that. So if I run this now, you don't have to do the automatic thing that I just did. Go to the terminal and type Ruby space review week 1.3, okay? Now, what's your name here? For example, I say Harley, and then hello Harley, welcome back. Okay, that looks good. There's one syntax that you may not have used. It's called print. It's similar to put, except the cursor is sort of not, moved to the next line. So I add a little space here because I don't want to type next to the question mark. Normally only one space. And then let's see, what's your name? You see the thing down here? Louis. And then hello Louis, right? And you start to implement your program in a very user-friendly way. For example, you realize that a lot of times you want to be polite to the user. And of course, I don't want too many spaces here. Just one is enough, right? Then I run it again. What's your name? Quy. And then it's friendly. Things like that. Right? First name, last name. Oh, welcome. First name, last name. Try to do different things like that. What's your name? What's your age? Oh, you're old enough to drink. Okay. All right, so that's a quick overview of the tool. I challenge you to keep trying new things and then say, oh, how do I do that? How would I do that? There's some instant command here that's nice if you don't remember the shortcut. And then as you use it, you realize that learning keyboard shortcuts has a lot of comes with a lot of rewards. Okay, there's this arrow thing, right? The play symbol, run code. That's in the run code extension. You go here, extension and run code runner, install it, and then reload it. You're able to run the code. However, your code is run in the output tab. I change it to the terminal tab. But if you do it, you should run the code in output tab. So I'm gonna let you guys try that. Maybe that just make your life easier. Can everyone show me this, right? Go to a file, create a new file, or go to your lab file or anything like this, okay? And run code. I want you to be able to run the code, click there, and it automatically run your code like this. Please show me that. I'll be walking around. Okay? Let me change that to go back and run. Okay. So it looks like this. If I run my code, it go to the output tab, print it out, and then it say done, exited with blah blah seconds. This is what you should be able to do, right? Next is now, please show me that you can run code directly like this. And then I save the file and I run it, and you see it prints at the bottom here. Do that right now on your computer, and I'll be walking around to check.